GBP roast, GBP roast. Sorry, you in danger. Right now, I gotta flame you. This is GBP roast, GBP roast. On your Google business profile, it's about to go down. We roasting and reacting. We ain't come to play. 20 years in SEO. JP, Lambo, and Dre, bringing facts and guests. Oh yeah, we bring the dopeness. Welcome to the show. Hope your profile don't get roasted.
Let's go.
Hello. What's up, everyone? Happy Hump Day, brothers. How are you guys doing today?
Oh,
Doing
it's
great.
doing awesome.
Great stuff for today. We got a few things. We'll be sharing our ranking in public of what we've been doing since the last week and share the tactic we did. JP has a how local branding and messaging influence AI. And Lambo will be sharing becoming super mobile optimized.
Yeah, I'm going to focus on really some of the mistakes that people make, and then I'll show some live examples of what you really need to focus on.
Nice. And then we'll be roasting a plumber GBP today.
Yeah, really interesting on some of the things that we have found on this.
Okay. Well, looking forward to it. All right, let's go to our...
I don't want to tease it. Like it's going to be awesome.
That was a good cliffhanger. Let's go. It's our first reaction video.
That's why you need to know the 4 types of keywords and how they fuel local SEO. So here's the breakdown. There's informational, which is how to fix a leaky faucet, for example. There's commercial, which is best plumbers near me, or navigational, which is like Home Depot in Vancouver. And then there's transactional. Book emergency plumber now. So this is what you should do. Build content for each intent. So there's informational, and that should go for blogs. Commercial should go for service pages, and navigational should go for optimized GMB posts. And transactional should go for call to action or even booking links on your website.
So, I mean, this strategy for me is like it's really for enterprise. It makes sense. I don't know what do you guys?
Yeah,
think?
for like national and econ, the reason why it's good to know those things is because you need to be able to target users based on kind of where they're at in the buying journey. Yep. So if you're like doing something like, you want to make an apple pie, and then you're thinking about, okay, what are the best apples for apple pie? And now you're thinking about what's the best crust that I can make for apple pie. And then you're thinking about where can I go buy the ingredients to make an apple pie. So you have to think about where people are in their actual buying journey. So you're actually covering a huge blanket. And local, you're not going to actually be really doing that. I mean, most people are like, hey, I need a plumber near me, right? So it's not like, unless someone is actually, I see it very, very rarely where a user is actually saying, hey, how much, what are the plumbing prices in San Francisco? What's the average plumbing price? That might be something, but again, it's very, very rare that, that is something.
Yeah, they're not going to type in book a emergency plumber. No one fucking does that.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, book about, what's the search volume on that? Why not? Why wouldn't someone? I mean,
stop it. Don't go there.
I never searched it myself, but I mean, I could see why someone would want an emergency plumber, like at 2 a.m. in the morning.
But
yeah,
this is where the trust portion. You're not going to Puerto Vallarta or Fiji and you want to book an airline. You're talking about some guy who's going to come. You're going to trust. You're going to give him money. You don't want to get raped and screwed over. So you're going to do a little research, spend some time. It's not an instant thing. Now, will someone say emergency plumber near me? Yes.
Yep. I see what you're talking about. You don't need to rank
what
me.
It's the it's the what they want, not the buy now. Buy now. Buy. No.
All right. Let's check out our second video here.
Like the time between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. Businesses that are closing start dropping in the rankings, and businesses that are open shoot up to the top. There's a great opportunity to go 24/7 with your hours. That way you don't get that ranking drop when you close.
Okay, yeah. Hey, now, we know that if your business is open, you have a much better chance of getting a call and being seen. Duh. Do you instantly drop off at 5 o'clock or 6 p.m.? No. It's still about brand prominence and your strength. Should you be open at 3 in the morning? Yes, if you actually answer the phone And guess what? Most local services really won't do that. You might have to call a special 24-hour number. A lot of these people don't have like a after hours on call unit. You call, you leave a message. Even the plumber I talked to, I've worked with, they're like, yeah, I missed a couple jobs. Well, don't say that you're open if you can't take the call.
Yeah, I would also say it's also very risky too, because Google will call you periodically throughout the year.
Boom!
to
Right
confirm your
there,
business.
baby.
So a lot of times if they're calling after hours, you risk like getting suspended. So unless you actually are open, you actually do provide services, then you need to have that measured in place. You can get a very, very affordable answering service to kind of relay, hey, we close at 5. Most voice over IP systems will actually allow you to set hours within the system itself, so then you can redirect calls based upon business hours. So keep that in mind.
Interesting. Well, I kind of tested this out. Just when I saw this, I was like, well, at least for like my own Oakland SEO, right? I did see agencies that say they're 24 hours open start ranking above me when I was closed after 5 p.m. like
bastards.
Yeah, there's usually about an hour, kind of about an hour or two, like I guess kind
Buffer.
of wiggle room buffer.
Yeah.
Where you'll kind of start to see that. But this whole thing, when this came out, they tested this about 3 years ago. It has come in and out. So don't take this as like this is what happens. It's not always the case.
Joy says you need to do that.
Speaking of Joy will be on in a couple weeks. So
what?
Get one. Yeah.
Perfect. I'm ready. I'm ready.
What?
Let's go.
Oh man! All right, that's gonna be a great episode. Okay, here's our third reaction video. Speaking of Joy,
if you select attributes such as identifies as women-owned, for example, you'll rank higher for things like female-owned business near me or female doctor near me. In one of my tests, adding this attribute actually spawned a local pack out of thin air.
So what do you think? What do you think about attributes? I haven't actually tested this one out.
Once again, are you actually searching a women-led business near me? Can it happen somewhat, maybe in more liberal areas, urban, but it's very rare.
Yeah, I wouldn't get worried about attributes. It's kind of something added in there for if you actually are women-owned, added in there if you are, a lot of times people are doing stuff just out of spite, kind of like the whole thing with the business hours. Again, it comes down to get a match.
The bonus golden nugget here is put those attributes more as headlines and in your footer and on your contact page. Because when someone is ready at that transactional, right, they want to do business with you, then they'll see, oh, you're open Sundays, or walk-ins welcome, or you have a kids' playroom, or all those little unique nuances. But where? Main headlines, footer, contact page, and guess what else?
Nice.
Those will be seen and highlighted on the SERP.
And I'm going to say something. It's all about risk tolerance too. A lot of the tests that you can actually do that people mention in here, you can actually put directly on the website. So for example, in an area like Vancouver, Washington, there's a lot of Russian speaking people there. It covers probably close to 5 to 10%. It's a huge population within a pretty small geographic area. So per capita, it's a pretty large Russian speaking. So things that you can do, if let's say Russian speaking was an attribute option in Google Business, you wouldn't even need to do that. You want to actually refrain yourself from being able to make any edits in your Google Business if this is something you're actually going to want to test. So you can do this very easily directly on your website by putting content in there, whether you want to actually display the content or if you want to actually hide the content. You can do it multiple ways. So don't be making edits. If you watch a video like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get a ranking increase, and I just need to change my hours. It's risky. You don't want to be doing that, especially business owners. You can't, rely on something like that and risk getting your business suspended because you watched a video.
Nice.
Lambo said.
Yeah. Well,
I'm curious. You said you picked Vancouver, Washington. Do you have a client out there? Because My competition's been getting hard for me. Are you doing some work out there?
Yeah, I mean, I lived out there for a little period of time. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty interesting market. It's pretty small in comparison to, because it's literally neighboring Portland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
You
right.
Cross
just
the
literally
river.
you cross the river and you're right there. So it's a kind of an interesting market. It's probably, I think 175,000 people within actual Vancouver boundaries, but it's kind of an interesting boundary in how it's laid out.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But do your clients try to try to help you say, hey, can we rank in both areas? Because that's what my client gets me.
yeah,
Like,
it's
hey,
it's tough to do because you really have to have. There was an old client we had. We had to just open up another location actually in Vancouver,
oh,
even though like Vancouver downtown is very close to
yeah,
like Portland like border.
yeah, it's right.
So it's still kind of the way things are drawn out on maps. You do have to have two locations.
All right, great stuff. Great reactions here. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here quickly on what we saw within our update. So last week we decided we would do one thing, which was to add questions, not even answers, just add questions to the business profile that we're testing out here, and we were able to increase green pins from 25 to 40. This was after 4 days. I was checking this every day. It was growing every day until about the 4th day, and then after 1 week, everything kind of pretty much reverted back. So I feel like this is maybe that tactic that we did was kind of more temporary. So it was like it actually was increasing for about 4 days, and then I just checked today, a little after a week. It's back to normal, pretty much.
And just so I understand, it was just questions only, no answers,
yeah,
right?
just questions only. And so that
And
was just
then-
one thing. Yeah,
And then you just, how many did you ask?
15.
All on the same day?
Yeah, all on the same day. Different like PDR,
Right.
PDR cost or paint debt removal, paint debt repair, just kind of mixing kind of
Gotcha.
the keywords.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, it lasted about 4 or 5 days. But I think like if you consistently do something, maybe then. I mean, I don't know. What were your thoughts? So like, if you ask more
Yeah,
questions,
and that's
yeah,
one thing too, is like we think about even for just your maps, it can be similar to like changes that you make or organically, where there is kind of like a rescoring. Panda, which was an old update that they came out in like several years ago, the Panda update. Basically, it's a scoring algorithm, so it's seeing how quality, how the relevance is and things like that. So there is a scoring system within GBP. It's just harder to monitor and harder to really scale. But a lot of times too, when they see like businesses are having updates and making changes, it's almost like they're kind of testing the waters to kind of see what's happening. So they may kind of increase up a little bit based on kind of what users are seeing.
So I'm curious, what should be the next tactic that we just throw onto this business profile?
I would say the services, if you haven't done services on that listing yet. So adding
okay.
services in there. So even
Services.
adding more and actually having a full description on each one.
Okay. Services.
Yep.
We'll do services next. And then don't even answer the questions just yet?
Don't answer the questions. Yeah.
All right. We'll do that. So let's get on to our next segment here.
Yeah, we're going to apply some G&Bs right now. How we doing?
Woo, we're doing, baby. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
All right. So today we're going to be talking about how basically how your branding and messaging on your website, your Google business really influence AI. We're coming into a place where, AI is a big thing right now, especially with Google. You'll see AI overviews, AI mode, and things like that. What I'm going to be showing today is something through AI mode. And I'm going to go ahead and share that. So this is for, I typed in Pleasant Hill SEL, which is the city where my office is located in. And so what we're looking at here is you're going to see, and let me show you how I got to this, first of all. So we'll type in Pleasant Hill SEO, and there's a little mode tab here. It says AI mode. So Pleasant Hill SEO, you'll see my listings #1. And if we click on AI mode, it gives us some content talking about Pleasant Hill. But if we scroll down a little bit, I wanted AI to give me a little bit more information. So I said, can you recommend some SEO agencies in Pleasant Hill, California? And how did you pick these companies and why? So this is what it gave back to me. So a lot of the themes that we see here, I think one thing that we need to clear up is that there's a big misconception where, people are trying to figure out, hey, how do we get into AI? And you're going to notice that it's a pretty common theme. A lot of it is ranking. So if you're ranking well in search and SERPs and on Google Maps, that's what's going to actually help you influence what actually shows up in AI. So go
It's
figure.
about
So
ranking?
SEO hasn't really changed, even though AI is out here.
Just
So
goddamn AI hackers trying to take my money.
that's right. So, but one thing that's important too is you're going to see a lot of the things that we go over on our show and things that Keith goes over when we talk about messaging. So it gave me some top recommendations. It named my company here. It says I have 5-star rating, and even mentioned me. It tells you some other businesses and kind of why they came up to that conclusion. Even some, their actual profile. So you'll see these links actually go to the Google Business Profile, and then some additional options. These are actually being found kind of nearby areas. So even though you may be searching for a particular business within the area, they may recommend some other businesses that are close by. And this is the part that I was really honing in on, is this is giving me some things of why it gave me these results. So this is the importance. These are things that we talk about every day. It's, having a positive reputation, not just in having 5-star ratings, but also just having people that are having a good experience. So when we talk about reviews, for example, in our messaging, we talk about things like sentiment, which sentiment is basically the mood. So any piece of content, if people are having a positive experience, that you want to have a positive sentiment. Obviously local presence. So, being located here, it does mention some of these other cities that are close by, review content and things like that. We also talk about some different places here, such as, using words like established company. And also too is, you'll notice that some of the messaging in here, it may, if you do different types of searches, it'll actually give you like recommendations. Hey, this business is also on the Better Business Bureau. They've been in business for X amount of years. So when Keith goes over a lot of the conversion stuff and messaging on the website, you really want to keep that in mind, that, think of ways of why you would want to be recommended and why a customer may recommend you. Keith came out, he was a fantastic plumber. Obviously takes a lot of pride in what he does. So a lot of that messaging that is actually being displayed on your website, you can't really show that on your Google Business Profile, but Google's pulling that information from your website and putting that into their AI models. So keep that in mind when you look at AI. It's not something to really freak out about, but you just maybe have to take it a step further and make sure that your business is unique. You use unique messaging within your brand, and obviously the dominance factor, prominence factor is like, if you usually, with most of the results, if you're ranking on Google Maps and on page 1, you're probably going to show up in AI. So it's not something to really freak out about. SEO hasn't really changed a lot, even though this AI stuff is out. So, and that's what I have for today.
Woo!
All right. So let's get into our next segment.
La 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 la, la 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 la, Lambo's World. La 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 la, la 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 la, Lambo's World. Lambo likes conversions and SEO too. That's Lambo's World. Bum, 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 bum. Lambo's World. Yeah. Let's do it. You ready? Let's go take care of some GMB, shall we? Super optimized mobile. Let's focus on that today, kids. Primarily thing I wanted to pull up, 1 second here. Da-da-da-do. Click the right button. Do-do-da-da, do-do-da-do. Sorry. Can we pause this a second? Hold, please hold. We know that folks, you're losing easily 1 out of 4 viewers coming to your site, that if you don't load in 3 seconds, you're pretty much screwed. So I know we talk about this all the time, but you really need to be super mobile optimized. Use a CDN. You got to make sure that you have a delayed script, compress your images. There's a variety of things you can do, and I'll show you some of those with some examples. The above the fold value, meaning as soon as the page loads, don't really get lost in how awesome you are. Show me some trust. Show me an offer. Let me easily connect with you and really focus on why I really should take advantage of an opportunity. So focus on that. Difficult to contact. You see this a lot, right? Where's your phone number? How do I get to the contact button? I just want some basic information. I don't want to scroll all the way down to the bottom. Make it really easy and not teeny tiny, right? Big buttons are okay. I think you can go for like what they call the thumb value, right? 44 by 44 pixel. Long mobile forms. Think about it again, kids. You're on a tiny device, right? I don't want to have 8, 10, 12 different questions. Your name, your address, your dog's name, your phone number, your girlfriend's name, your ex-wife's name, right? Just get to the point with what's most important. And what I love to do is a question at a time. So let me show you an example. Here is a roofing example. What do you notice right away? Bam, you get to the quality, we focus on value, get that free roof inspection and schedule here. Looking at it from a mobile point of view, wow, we got hours at the top. There's that button, clearly help reinforce the area code. There's a phone number. There's the brand, clear messaging, and that's what I want if I want to schedule the inspection. Even as I scroll, the phone number is sticky. It stays there, okay? Same thing, reminding folks about expanded hours. Easy information on contact. Go in here, wow, look at, there's only 5 choices: roofing, windows, siding, more services, right? I'm not overwhelmed with tons of things. It just allows you to then go in deeper. Then there's a how-to, the about. Let's go over to the contact page. Above the fold value, right away, reminding people, get that free roof inspection. You click that button, and look how crystal clear this is. There's his address, there's the information, there's a button. It says directions, it's hyperlinked, right? If I click that, I can go right to him, get that GMB interaction, and then there's also a phone number. Let's take a deeper dive and look at the form. Oh, look at, it's little Moose the dog. Okay, I get a free inspection, click that button. It looks like it's guaranteed. Oh, it's free. And look at that. It reminds you, it only takes a minute. I have a minute. Let's go forward. I select this puppy. Oh, wait, maybe this is a sample. It's not going to roll here. You know
what's interesting? That small little arrow icon actually really draws your eye.
So there's the happy family. There's the trust images. We just say that it's Lambo at #1 SEO rockstar.net.com.co. What service do I need? I need a roof inspection. Now, one clever thing you can do here, where's the handy dandy marker? Sometimes don't let people think, right? Don't let them type out. You could just have, if you only have maybe 4 or 5 or 6 things that you do, just show a picture or show text and say, yeah, that's what I want. Roof inspection, I want siding, I want a windows estimate, whatever it is. That's one clever way to do it. Typing it out also allows them to kind of like, tell them your story, right? They're now more emotionally connected to you. More photos of the person. What is your name? Mr. Lambo. Okay. Whoop. Now, type in an address. And I think depending, this is obviously more on a demo mode, but it can pull your info and then also store it. And then your phone number, 208, damn it.
What happened? Number only
5,
three.
yes, there we go. Perfect, my favorite. And bam, dude, 5 questions, that's it.
You're saying one
All
question,
good,
one-
Lambo 1. So short, sweet, to the point. If we go back and look at, let's look at this on regular full size. We know that video is important, but also when you embed a video, what happens? It takes up a lot of file space. This is actually an image. So when I click that, now it opens and now it loads. Let's pause that a second. That's a clever way of showing the opportunity to play the video, but not bogging down your site. You can do the same thing too with a gallery where until I click, that's a small thumbnail, right? But until I click it, then it'll load the bigger picture. That's it today, kids, in Lambo's world.
Nice,
Short,
nice.
sweet. Thank you. Thank you very much. Got to do. Let's go. Goggle time. Goggle time.
My
All
smoke
right.
didn't work, but
Back to Lambo's world. Yeah. Hey, everybody. ProTech plumbing drain specialist. What are you? What's some of the first things I like to do? Take a look at categories, look at reviews, and right away you're thinking, okay, 34 reviews, maybe they're a couple years old. Oh no, they're long established. So let's go look at the most recent review. And you might be thinking, yeah, that's interesting. Why? Oh, 2 months ago. So that's one that you really want to think about and you say, hey, you need more reviews. And I'm not talking about like quantity, but if you're seeing a customer a day, you better at least get 2 reviews by the end of the week, maybe 3. So make sure you really think about that.
Yeah, most of the businesses there have like several hundred. There's even a couple that have like 1,500 reviews. So
Yeah,
if you've been around for 35 years, you better have more than 34 reviews.
it's a clear engagement signal.
Yep.
And as a business owner, you really need to focus on that. When you actually look at the site and, jumping into, the over optimization of on page, but I'm not going to knock it because if you go search for plumbers in Port Charlotte, right? They're one of the top 3. The problem is it's all about the maps. So you're like, wow, that's really interesting. Is this one of Joy's? Oh, well, see, they're ranking high organically, but they're not in the maps. No, I'm sorry. That's not really the issue. The issue is people are not searching this brand. If you really had a lot of customers, you should see more reviews and more engagement. Let me just jump over. It's quite obvious there's lots of issues here from a CRO point of view, right? We've got big graphics, lots of text, lots of information. I'm not really going to knock so much on the SEO portion, right? Because yes, this is really weird that the over optimization is helping. There's probably lots of links. Certainly there's been a large investment, but man, the CRO is poor, is really bad. And we look at this from like a mobile point of view. Again, can I click and do business with you? No. There's navigation. Oh my, now please understand, this is obviously in inspect mode on Chrome, so it doesn't quite have the exact feel. It's these kinds of things where, you know, Lambo, I hate centering all this stuff. It's nice to see the vans, the people, but there's just a ton of text when I just need to know I have a clogged toilet or I'm out of hot water. Can you please just come and take care of me, right? It's just super, super SEO optimized, but it's missing out on the feels, right? The user experience is really poor.
Yeah, and even looking at, so when we look at our website, your website is a way for you to support what's happening on your Google business profile. There's nothing that's even being optimized on the profile itself. There's not a whole lot of reviews even talking about a lot of the services that you've offered. I'm guessing that a lot of the engagement has probably happened of kind of in a more smaller location when they were getting reviews. You got to think about the opportunities. If you're servicing this wide area and you do have customers in, you know, some of these other markets, you know, neighboring cities and things like that, you know, that's why we ask for, hey, you know, let us know what city you're in, let us know the service that you got, let us know how the service was in general, so that way you're getting all the content that you need in those reviews. The profile is decent. It shares its social profiles. The branding is actually pretty good considering on the directories. I recommend everybody to go get a Chrome extension called Plepper, and it actually allows you to kind of see what the categories are that you're showing. It gives you the knowledge panel machine readable ID number, which basically will pull that up. And when you click on that link, it actually will bring up how your brand actually is being displayed. So keep that in mind. But a lot of the optimization points, you know, the services, products, and stuff in there, you know, like even, you know, Dre was doing on a test for him, questions and answers is really big right now. That's a good opportunity to allow users to stay really on your profile, which is really what Google wants. They want users to actually stay on Google. They don't want users to go to the website. So that's why they have all these features in there. So if you see things like services, products, if you're a restaurant, you need to add your menu in there. Like you need to be able to utilize everything that Google is offering to you. But at this point, there are things that on the website, it's very, very spammy. It's very extremely over optimized, in my opinion. Yeah, they're ranking
What?
organically, but it's not
Wait,
not
hold
matching
on a
what's
second.
on the business profile.
If I just type in the word plum, just on the fucking headlines, 24 times there's a version of the word plum,
I
plumber or
think
plumbing.
they must be an electrician then.
Is there such thing as over optimizing? I mean, well, let's say over optimizing by just generally looking at it, but I mean, but for like, let's say against the algorithm, can you get really penalized for over optimizing something?
It's not like you're going to see like something showing up in your search console and you have like a manual action. That's not necessarily what you see, but it's something that, you know, Google does notice when things are very obvious. That's why a lot of times too, you'll see even websites, like I could show you a plumbing site here locally that they mentioned plumbing like maybe 2 or 3 times, and even the city they might mention it once or twice, but Google knows that plumber's in that city, but they're ranking organically in on maps. So yeah, I mean, you can definitely very well be optimized, and Google is also looking for something that's more unique. If you look like every other plumbing company, they notice that. You know, the caveat between this is ProTech, fortunately, when I looked in AI, they are showing up in the results, but the reason why they're pulling that is because Google is looking at what's being unique. use AI to your advantage and use it to see what Google's looking for. Because one of the things that's actually in AI mode that Google's pulling is that this company, ProTech, has been around for 35 years. So that is messaging that's in there. So obviously, the website doesn't correlate with what Google's actually picking up or what they want to pick up. So in something like this, they should be ranking according to what we show. They should, if all things equal, should be doing extremely well on Google Maps, but they're not, because they're looking like every other company. And we've tested this over and over and over again, using things that's lead generation types of listings where it's very obvious that this is not a very well unique or established brand, and it just doesn't push. So look at AI. That it gives you a lot of hints and secrets.
Speaking of AI and how you've been using a lot, are you kind of keeping a repository of like things why they included things, just so I can have like, okay, this the AI told me it's including this.
Yeah, it's a pretty common theme, and the things that they look for are things that are unique. The biggest thing is reputation. I see that in every result. They say that this company has this many star reviews, this company has this many, and this is kind of the average. Also, too, they pull things like from Yelp, Better Business Bureau. So those are places that you need to be in, because in Google's eyes, even though I can't stand the Better Business Bureau. I think they are a complete fraud company. I think that they're complete bullshit. But on the caveat, Google thinks that they're a reputable third-party agency. And a lot of consumers do go to the BBB to read information, read reviews, read reputation. So in Google's eyes, they're a great place to be on. When you submit a lot of I think we talked about getting your business on directories like Yext. Yext actually helps you submit directly to the Better Business Bureau, even on Yelp. Dun & Bradstreet, if you're in the United States, it's a very important one to be on. So keep in mind that when you look at these AI results, you may have to kind of dig in even a little bit deeper. You can even ask AI mode, hey, how did you get these results and why? And it'll give you some explanations of what's happening.
On the screen, Keith just pointed something out. What I just did for myself on the paintless dent removal website. The site shows up, but it's not recommended in the AI. So it's like shows up as a source. See how there's a source over there, but when it says top plumbers, it's not necessarily in there.
Because you don't really have anything. You don't have anything that has really been done. You don't have reviews. You don't have a lot of the things that they're actually looking for.
No, but like this one, is it showing up? Are they showing? Is that ProTech showing
Not
up?
for top plumbers, but I did one for plumber Port Charlotte, Florida, and it gave me a result.
Oh, okay.
So I think they are just showing the top, and then
they have
more
1,300
photos,
reviews, yeah.
and then possibly under the see more. Well, then there's just the 5 other highly rated.
But there they are right there. See, that's the same result that I get.
Yeah.
See, go back up. You see how it says highly rated plumbers with fewer reviews.
Fewer reviews. Yep. There you
go. Give that guy an applause.
All right, here you go.
So that's giving me hints. You gotta look at what if Google's AI is looking at this as a quality thing, you have to really focus on being, like right here, like things they consider.
Exactly.
Type of service, pricing, emergency,
right
license
here,
and
kids.
insurance.
This is the first thing you should see on your Geo Hub on the homepage. Definitely on the contact and the about, right? Get to the point, show what you do and what's possible.
And go back. It even mentions exactly what I just talked about. Even looking at places like Yelp, Angie's List, Better Business Bureau.
Oh yeah, and remember the sources quoting Better Business. Yep. Angie's List, Better Bureau. Those are all places you can register for free, right? You can get your business on there for free, right?
You can. I actually don't know about Angie's List. I think you probably can get on Angie's List for free.
And I'm going to give you guys a little tip that being on the Better Business Bureau and also on places like Duns and Bradstreet, and Yelp are an extremely important source to be on, it actually Google, that's one of the first places they look at. And if you ever get suspended, that's one of the first places that they look at if you have a listing on one of those profiles.
Oh,
It's more, not impossible, but it's, as long as you're not doing a bunch of editing and things like that, it's makes it things a little bit tougher if you're on those directories to get suspended.
And just, you know, comparison, looking at like this AV plumbing, right? Clearly there's a lot of trust, lots of value. These are common things people have a problem with. And son of a gun, you know, you go here, are you really going to trust this company, right? Would you rather call this guy or would you rather call this guy, right?
yeah. I mean,
Those are the kinds of things that really cross people's minds for sure.
yeah, I mean that kind of is a bummer for the other person because I mean that is psychological with like the website how it just looks like that. It's like,
yeah,
I'm going with the site just because there's sites like that. It looks like it was one of the ones made in tables like in the Dreamweaver back in the days. It's like embedded tables.
It's a very old like WordPress theme too. That's what it looks like.
All right,
and
guys.
you know that you've got old information when you've got two phone numbers like this, because what you're dealing with
the matching
is the situation when the local phone companies, there used to be long distance to call the other county, right? To call another part of the state. So they're deliberately promoting that they have an Inglewood phone number with 475 and then the Punta Gorda with the 575. But again, now remember, Google can read that and scan that, but son of a gun, if you go look way at the bottom, there's no mention of the 475. Now we've got this other number, which is probably their cell phone, and maybe that there is a guy on call over here. It's all these little things, right, that you really have to look at.
And one thing, I can't say this enough. It's really important that you guys keep up on your reputation because eventually AI is going to be, imagine you're a consumer and you're like, hey, I need a plumber in Port Charlotte. And it still gives you 6 results. And then finally that customer says, hey, can you just narrow it down? I want to make sure that I'm not getting screwed. Can you give me like the most reputable company? And it might shrink that down to 2 or 3. But again, it's all about that messaging, that reputation. If you have, 100 3-star reviews, like you're not going to get recommended. So again, like when we look at AI, you want to rank. SEO stays the same. It's just now you have to change it. And as far as the messaging goes, you got to be unique and you got to make it look like, hey, if someone were to recommend me, what are things that they are actually looking for? And AI is going to be actually implementing that into everywhere.
Nice. And that brings us to the end of this week's
What?
episode.
No.
Yep, we are at time.
No, we can't. We need more of this. Come on.
A couple weeks, we have a very special guest coming in, so be sure to check that out. Until next time, we'll see you next week on same day, same time. Happy Hump Day.
Hey, GBP roast, GBP roast. Sorry, you in danger. Right now, I gotta flame you. This is GBP roast, GBP roast. On your Google business profile, it's about to go down. We roasting and reacting. We ain't come to play. 20 years in SEO. JP, Lambo, and Dre, bringing facts and guests. Oh yeah, we bring the dopeness. Welcome to the show. Hope your profile don't get roasted.
Man, that was jam-packed.